Okay, guess I'll start drawing. Just give me a second to finish setting up. Yes, so today I'm going to be drawing Jack Frost. Hope you guys enjoy the experience. Also, tell me if the music is too loud. And my mic is my camera's in a weird spot. It's like here. So sorry if my hands just block stuff sometimes. But hopefully it only blocks key presses and I don't push the keys that often when I start drawing. Alright. So to start, I always do a little doodle. Doesn't really matter the color because I'm only using it as a baseline for everything. Let's see. I want to do a thing where I don't know what Jack should be doing. Maybe he'll. I almost want to do some sort of like fighting stance. Or maybe. Let me turn on the music a little bit. I feel like it's loud. Okay. Maybe he can. I almost think he should just be standing in a generic pose. So let's maybe do something like that. Foot bent a little. No, I don't like that. How about okay. So the key to Jack Frost, I guess, is just making sure that, I guess, when I do it, try to keep the eyes at a certain thing where it matches up with where the mouth is. And then the teeth I always put right under where the mouth is too. So like, or where the eyes are, so they line up. I think that helps visual symmetry or something. And lately I've kind of been digging the Jack Frost with the bells, so let's add the bells. Let's see. I guess he's got those like Sora from Kingdom Hearts shoes. Hello, Simply Dad. You're my only viewer right now, I think. So, kind of dreaming a little big, so I gotta shrink them down a little. Then I'm gonna move them up. Bam. That's where the happy face thing will be. So it's kind of a thing where I don't know if I'm gonna do hard, like, corners or round them out. But lately I've been rounding them, so I'm gonna add bells there too. Okay. This is like the rough sketch. What I'm gonna do basically is take the rough sketch. I'm gonna draw over it again. Basically what I did yesterday with Mothman. Draw it over again with the pen tool. I know that this is probably hard to read if you're looking at it. If you're looking at it, you don't really know the sense of what I'm doing. But yeah. Alright, cool. Hope you enjoy watching me. The program I'm using is Painter Tool Sai. It's like my go-to because it's close to how I normally how I paint if I'm using like acrylics or something. So I like using Painter Tool because it's really similar. Is it called Painter Tool Sai? Yeah, Painter Tool Sai. And I think I have Sai number 2. I don't know if there's been any updates or changes since I bought Sai, but yeah. Also, you should pay for Sai. It's really cheap. It's like $50, but it's vastly superior to Illustrator. Nah, well, the Photoshop suite in general. So then this is kind of like a cheat. This is basically what I would be doing if I was using Illustrator, but it's easier here. So what I do is I'll do the line over, and it's like not really that important to be exactly like how my original sketch is, because what I'll do is I'll delete the points that my Illustrator and that my pen tool has created, like the extra ones. This is not something I've done all the time. I grew up kind of using Illustrator, Photoshop, and stuff, and I just only recently started using the pen tool because it's easy, easier. It also feels more like traditional painting art. Yeah. Yeah, the eyes look bad. It'll look good, I promise. Let's see. Kind of want to do a little bit of the belly, because you want to have him be a little pudgy. He looks really bad if he's not, I think. And you always want to remember that he has a little bit of a tail. Do I look like a timid person? I think it's lately that I look more timid now that I've let my hair grow all crazy and I have like the nerdiest round glasses. But I promise, not timid, world of strength. Okay. His shoes are always kind of like something I don't really know I'm gonna do because he has like a couple different versions. But lately, what I do is I give him a little bit of a hunch thing on his shoe, kind of like that. And this one's kind of like a weird bad perspective. Let's see. Maybe I'll do it a little more angled. That. And that doesn't make sense because that's a. Okay, I'll fix it later. and I realized I forgot. I guess I opened the line work thing and then I merged down by mistake. So now I have two line works and neither of them are what I wanted. This is my first time drawing ever. Yes, well. No, I think you're like way taller than me, aren't you? Like I think you tower over me. Plus you're younger, so you have the energy of youth. You know, it'd be like Drago, and I guess I'd be Apollo, and we know what happens. Alright, so I gotta redo this line again, but third time is the charm. So and that explains why it's so thin because I'm using it. All right. So like I was saying earlier, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't follow because the point isn't to follow it exactly. The point is to get the general idea so that I can mix it up when I'm redoing it. He's gonna have those bells. See, look, it's coming out better already, and I'm doing it a lot faster. I feel like, I mean, whenever I'm doing like an actual like one of those watercolor things I'll post or whatever, I always do it like 3 times or 2 times at least. So you guys usually see the third version, and the third version isn't even that good because I have like really unsteady hands, you know. And it's not like that false artist humbleness. It's like, no, you can see it where it bleeds over and stuff. But yeah, okay. Dude. Bam. And then I'm gonna hit that. So I started working on like a new video series that I'm going to eventually upload that I think everyone will at least find interesting because one of my friends, he goes by Gnarly now, but he's the one that does the Heretic Mansion podcast, and he's been uploading a lot recently to his channel, which he like recently rebranded. He does like this thing where he'll talk about demons, and that's really cool because he talks about it from like a gameplay standpoint and like some of the lore and mythology that comes into play. Oh no, I am not using a mouse. I'm using. Let's see. This is a tablet that I got in 2007, I think, or 2008, for my birthday. I use it because it's good. You don't need to ever like upgrade, I think, and because unless you're professional, I would never like go for like more pen pressure. It doesn't really matter. Since I'm using the pen tool, there's not a lot of line deviation. If that's why you're wondering, no. So, oh, but what I was saying is, with his channel, he started doing a lot of that thing, like the demonology, explaining demons and stuff, which is similar to what I'm gonna start doing. Which is part of why I'm doing these drawing live streams. I think, well, besides me liking to draw and me having time off because I'm sick, it's kind of like a test to see how fast I can do this, I guess. But his thing, he focuses on that kind of stuff, and what I've been doing is I've been pulling a lot of like commentary from like Kaneko and, well, basically him, because I have all of the art books, and I've just been looking at what he says about the different demons and like some of the design logic, and then I got the blessing from the guys who run Kaneko Crib Notes. So what I'm gonna do is start talking about the designs and the history and the thought and whatever inspired Kaneko's designs. And I think the first one I'm gonna do, since I've already recorded it, is the Jack Frost one, which should be fun because Jack Frost design is, it's interesting to say the least. And this looks really janky. It looks really this looks like a MS Paint sketch, but it's gonna be good. But yeah. His video series is great. I watch all of his videos, especially lately, because his content is just kind of like blew up in terms of quality. You don't really get a lot of Megaten quality content. I think Simply Dad's video on Nocturne was really good too. There's like just very few like people who talk about the series and really they don't really talk about the series that much, and they don't really have the same amount of passion. That's why I like Simply Dad's video a lot, because it's one of the things that you want to hear someone who loves Megaten talk about Megaten, especially if it's something that they care a lot about. And I care a lot about the designs. I don't really care about the gameplay. So I wouldn't even be able to tell you what excuse me, what Jack Frost's moveset is, because frankly don't really pay attention to that sort of thing. Okay. So I always start with like a base color, and that's a pretty good blue. I'm colorblind, so if you ever wondered why some of my things are kind of weird, like the blues are weird or something, it's because I'm using my eye. Typically, if I really am not sure, I'll just grab colors from one of like Kaneko's drawings and pull the colors from there, and that's how I usually get away with it. But if the colors ever look really off, it's because I'm just guessing. First world problems or something, I don't know. But because I'm super excited about my Jack Frost video, I can probably talk a little bit about his design. One of the things that I thought was really interesting is that Kaneko says essentially that he based, is that yellow or is that green? That's like a green. That's more yellow, right? Let's move on. He says that he was inspired by jesters and clowns, and he specifically names that famous clown. Pierrot, I don't know, French name. I thought that was pretty cool. But when I was comparing like some of the, I guess just the design aesthetic with other depictions of Jack Frost, I think that he was at least mildly influenced by the stop motion animation movie for Jack Frost that came out in like the 60s, 70s. There's a lot, I guess, in terms of similarities between that old Jack Frost movie and this Jack Frost design. Not to say that it's bad or that he is some sort of petty criminal, but I do think that there's some, I guess, inspiration to be had. So with this, the reason why I'm using like a grayish red, a warm gray is what you would call it, is because I want it to contrast with the blue, and I want to create some depth of color when I start doing the shadows. So this is not really his base tone, but it's something that, it's just like a marker for me so I remember. I'm gonna make his teeth the same. I even used a warm gray for the mouth because I wanted to have color depth, and in order to do that you gotta color theory stuff, you know? Yes, ring that bell. I don't know when you said that, but ring that bell. I don't know how streams work. Can you ring bells for streams? Yeah, you probably could. Yeah, ring that stream. Bell it. Okay. So this whole thing is part of why my colors get kind of crazy, is I'll take this, move it on the color wheel, and like find something that kind of contrasts it. So if this is here, then I'll usually go straight up to the opposite, pull a darker version with some black mixed in, which you're not supposed to do. And I'll pull that in. I'll knock it in wherever the darker parts are supposed to be, I guess. Boop. Like that. And that looks weird. It doesn't even make sense if you if you like having logical stuff. It looks really bad. But when I blend it, usually what will happen is it'll start to look good. Also, if you guys are wondering, this is the Strange Journey OST, which is good. If you don't like it, sorry. I don't know if you can even hear it all the way, but I'm blasting it through so I can hear it. It inspires me to draw. Bam. Okay, that doesn't look good. So pretend I didn't say anything about the color stuff. I'm just gonna go to this dark purple. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. I bet. Alright, yeah, that looks, yeah, it looks better. It's better to, I think it's always better to go dark first before you start doing the highlights, because if you do the highlights first, it gets all crazy and something. There's probably some sort of like logical reason too, but personal preference. Bam, look at that, so pretty. This is, even though I said not to do it, I'm gonna start doing the highlights, just so you know. Song. What is this one called? The Honor Befitting the Name, I think, or something. Alright. Alright. Maybe one day I'll have Gnarly collab or something. I used to be on this podcast before I started my own. And it was cool. Some of the most funnest podcasting experiences of my life. So now if you look, it's starting to look a little better. I'm gonna change the line weight too, because I don't want it to be super thick, but I do want it to be kind of thick. So like maybe that. That way it doesn't look like MS Paint anymore too. There's probably some fast way to do it, but alright. Guess the next step would be cleaning up the lines a bit. Ooh, I missed one. Yes, just one. What I always do is delete essentially everything. When you make a lot of lines, or when you make the lines this way on Painter Tool, one of the big issues is that the way that the program interprets your movement is that it creates a lot of extra points on the line, and it, you know, it's pretty similar to how it would be if you did it on Illustrator with the pen tool there. So what you have to do is you have to like delete all these little dots, and it can take a while. That's why some drawings that I posted like in progress pieces for, like the like the Satanta. Sorry, somebody's gonna be mad that I don't know how to say Satanta. Satantas. That's why Satantas look so bad because and hasn't been finished, and I've posted about it like almost like 4 months ago. I think. It's really just because it's so much work to do it this way, and there's probably a million better ways to do it, but old dog, new tricks, blah blah blah. Okay, so boop, boop. Then you could. What I like about the corners is that you can change them from pointed or not. I almost like the rounded thing better, but no, we're not gonna do that. Pull it up a little bit. And you always gotta like zoom out because you don't ever want to focus too much on one thing without looking at everything, the big picture, because then oftentimes what'll happen is you'll have a really good looking thing but it doesn't really work well with everything else, and that's bad. And for the sake of brevity, let me just go ahead and do this really quick. I'm going to get rid of this dot so that the line's flatter. Pull it up. Alright. So even simple curves like this end up getting like so many points. And some of them work towards to your favor, to your advantage, but most of them don't. So they gotta go. You gotta call the weak. Nope, too much. And you might be asking, why is Jack doing this pose? Truth is, it's just a generic pose. Just sorry. All right. I just realized I look like I'm just doing this the whole stream. Maybe I'll tilt this. Does that help? No. Tilt it back up. Okay. Please, no hate. And let me put this back in. Let's see. Boop. So it's weird because when you delete one point, it'll affect other points on the curve. I guess that's to be expected, but it's always crazy because you don't really know how it's going to affect what. I don't know why this is not working right. Let me sharpen this point. Alright. Oh no, Jack's eyes! Sorry, it just looks really funny to me. Alright. What if I do this? No! Oh, someone help him! Looks like Jack's gonna give it to us. X go give it to you. I've been listening to that song a lot lately, which is super dumb. Doesn't make any sense. Alright. Maybe I'll give Jack a gun. Also, thank you for watching. Even those who have left or those who will come back. I know this is probably like the weirdest. I don't know what. I've never watched someone draw before, and I've never watched a drawing live stream, so I don't really know what you're supposed to do. I'm just doing what I think I should be doing. Alright. And apparently I snicker a lot, so. Do. Maybe one more. So with this one, I'm going to do what I didn't do yesterday, which is I'm going to create some line weight variation. And all that does is kind of make it more dynamic, I think. It looks really boring if all of the points on the line are doing the same thing. And the general rule of thumb is that, as I'm doing the hand, is that a big bold line should have the thicker part of the variation, and then the thinner parts, I guess, would go to like where the line is diminishing, so you wouldn't make the end point really big because that's silly. Yeah. And then there's got to be some like a level of balance to it too. I've never been particularly good at this kind of thing, the whole line weight variation. So I just don't really do which you shouldn't do. If you're bad at something, learn how to be good at it. Don't just not do it, because that's bad. And stuff like this with this overlapping line is supposed to help create depth. But since the way this program works is slightly different from Illustrator, you got to make sure you're aware of how the point changes will affect everything. And typically this sort of thing, like especially Jack Frost, because I draw him so often, only takes a few. I could probably pop off Jack Frost drawing in like an hour. So let's see how much time has passed since I started. 30 minutes? Okay, I bet I could finish this in an hour. This is a really good song. Alright. I never understood why people don't like this soundtrack. It's super powerful to me. Super good. It's really good. Boop, boop, boop. Oh. I mean, can you guys even hear the music? Second stream, no, me no. I'm going to assume you can. If you can't, I'm gonna turn it up a little bit, just a little bit. And then if it's drowning out my voice, I'm sorry, but the song matters a little more. So with these bells, it's always kind of a decision if I'm going to add the actual bell like detail, which is usually just like a little bit of an indent, because the way it works is essentially there's got to be a hollow part for the bell to actually emit a sound, you know. This is the first time I've done the bell toting Jack Frost digitally, so here's a little trick I picked up with when the when the points connect to another are overlapping another thing with that as points. It's super useful to it's super useful to make it kind of just overlap here. And yeah, I don't know. So if the music becomes too hard to hear, what I could do is I could sing it, because right now it's going do 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 do. Alright. So I accidentally didn't add this part to it, so I just added it really quick. I'm gonna probably have this curve up a little, and the only reason I'm doing that is so that it actually looks like these are like this is hanging off of it instead of just kind of just, I don't know, just sitting there, I guess. And since I'm lazy, what I'm gonna do is just copy paste. Ah! Oops. Delete all of this extra stuff, I guess. And the sad thing is that probably took way more work than if I had just done what I just made it. It's a life hack. When you don't feel like drawing another bell, you just copy paste and no one will know. This will be our little secret. Alright. So these eyes are really bothering me. So really quickly, I'm just gonna fix that. Boop. Usually when I draw Jack Frost, I just draw the eyes, because they're pretty easy to do. They're just big ovals, you know. Okay, one of those was pretty good. I'm gonna do. Sorry. Shortcuts are funny, but they're even funnier when now everyone knows that I did that. Alright. And then we're gonna merge that down and then delete that layer so no one knew. So no one knows. You know what? It looks pretty good. Looks a lot better this way. Let me start adding some more depth of color. So if the shadows are kind of reddish, then the highlight should be more blue, right? In theory. Yeah, that's kind of working, I guess. Oh no. I guess I should preface this with I'm not a professional drawer. I don't get paid to draw for a living. This is simply a hobby. But I used to be a professional graphic designer, so there's that. I mean, graphic design is not really the same thing. And I realized I had these eyes are on that layer, and that's gonna be bad. So I usually only have like a handful of layers, and that's only because it gets really confusing after a while. Usually I paint everything on one layer and I draw the lines on one layer. Makes it easier, I guess. Okay. So let's just pretend the eyes aren't there. I'm gonna add the highlights. And yeah, it looks like I just chose like a pure white, and that's not good generally, but it's okay for this. And now the base color that I was using earlier is gonna act as essentially the shadow. White doesn't get very much darker, so it shouldn't be super dark, you know? Add this here. It's always kind of tricky because you're not really supposed to make the lip area that light because then it makes it really confusing, I guess. Okay. And I'm pretty sure Jack Frost's mouth is like a cavern. And the only reason I say that is because on most depictions, I guess, when they have him like in a quarter turn or something, it's kind of it kind of has depth. But also in the giant figure that they released last year or 2017, and they re-released it, it's actually like a mouth. It's not like it's drawn on. Like, I don't know. Little details like that matter, I guess. To me, they do. And basically what I'm doing is similar to how I do it when I paint with acrylics. So when I paint in real life, I guess. And what I'm doing is I'm basically using a water brush and blending the darker layer with the layer underneath it. And generally what you do is you have to slowly transition, otherwise it won't look right and it won't blend well. So for instance, going from here, I would probably just pull it back a little bit and then draw the next color. And then go from there, pull back a little. Then draw the next color. And that way, when you blend, the colors will work together more and it won't look rushed or something. It'll look more finished. Bam. Typically you can just get away with rushing it because no one knows. So this part is here. I don't know, it kind of has like this weird nightmare vibe now because of the pinks. It's almost like flesh or something. Alright. So I guess in other news, I am getting pretty excited for Anime Expo now. I started one of my cosplay design thingies. Haven't really decided if I'm going to post about it too often because I have this habit of mentioning something and then never finishing what I mentioned. But I started my Dawn cosplay. Basically, I started the mask part of it, and the research, because when it comes to like a figure that hasn't been cosplayed much, I find it kind of hard to figure out where I'm gonna, how things work and stuff. So for instance, for the Monica, it was easier to make once I saw, I don't even know if it wants me to say his name, but Marcus, the guy that cosplayed Demi Fiend, he did a really good Doom guy. I think he did literally one of the best Doom guys that exists on the web. And the only reason why I was able to even come close is because he posted some videos of how he got the helmet to actually open and close and stuff, and essentially that laid the groundwork for mine. In saying that, with the Dawn thing, or Dan, because I guess his name is basically just Dan. But with that, there's a couple of cosplays out there actually, and they're pretty good, but they don't really show much. So what I had to do is I had to watch all of the Raido 2 cutscenes, like literally every single one. So it's not that much. It was only like 2-3 hours or something of footage, but I had to do that in order to get the information I needed on how his full costume looked like. What was the helmet like, or what was the just little bits here and there. Yeah. Oh, are you gonna cosplay at the gathering, by the way? Because oh, actually, I'm not gonna be wearing the Dawn one at the Megaton gathering I'm hosting. I'm gonna be wearing that. Let's see. I think I'm gonna be wearing that Sunday, because I think Friday is the Persona one, and for the Persona gathering, I'm gonna be going as Mark, or Masao, whatever you want to call him. And that one, I know it's like a little bit of an easier cosplay, but yeah, I'm going as Masao, and I think Marcus, the guy that went as Demi-Fiend and did the really good Doom guy, he's gonna be going as the Persona 1 protagonist for the meetup for Persona, so that'll be fun. But for my gathering, I'm going as Sakahagi. Yeah, so I guess what I'll do is when I'm done making the cosplays and I'm done with all of that stuff. Oh, this actually doesn't look good. It looks kind of like some weird skin stuff, I think. Let me push more this way. But yeah, once I've done all that stuff, the actual construction of it and stuff, I think I'll figure out, or I'll like just post when I'm gonna be dressed up as which character. But the Dawn one is gonna be basically all the days that aren't my meetup and the Persona meetup days. And I believe the Persona meetup day is Friday, so that means Saturday I'll be dressed up as Sakahagi, and then I think since there's 4 days in the con, I will be going as Dawn for the other 2 days. And it kind of sucks because I'm already liking the Dawn cosplay a lot more than I thought I would. Mostly because turns out making armor is a lot easier than making Demonica armor. Yeah. And I know it was just basically just the helmet thing, but that was hard. What's the point? The point is, yeah, Sakahagi will be the thing I wear. The only trouble I'm having now is figuring out how to make a convincing looking face skin, I guess. That sucks because that's like 80% of his costume is like the mannequin faces on it. But I want to do it justice, and I want to look good. Like 80% of why I'm even like going hard at the gym is because I'm trying to make sure that that I'm like in good shape to cosplay, because I think one of the worst cosplays I ever did, which is my Bugaboo one, and it's just I'm like not even I'm like out of shape. Kind of embarrassing to look at it now. I want to redo it because I love Bugaboo so much, but that cosplay is actually legitimately embarrassing, and I would strike it from the record if I didn't post it on social media when I was really excited about it. Boop. But yeah, although I draw Jack Frost a lot, I think I almost like his old design from Megami Tensei 2 better, if only because it's just so funny, and I don't really. When I was looking up the origins of this design, there's stuff to compare it to, But with the one with the umbrella, I just can't tell you where that idea came from, and um, even in the stuff that I saw, there's not really he doesn't really Kaneko never really goes, oh yeah, I got the idea for that Frost design from this. I mean, maybe it's in the anniversary book, but I'm waiting for that to come, and I haven't read it yet because I don't have it. So that's in the mail, I guess. Are you gonna cosplay though? I gotta know. Are you gonna cosplay? I'm gonna type it because I feel like there's a little bit of a delay. Are you gonna cosplay? I get that cosplay isn't for everyone, but some people just rather just look at things and dress up. But honestly, like, it's really fun. I have been practicing a lot of like things that I just didn't consider when I first tried cosplay, which is, I guess the big thing is learning how to pose in a way that's not like bad, because I have like no sense of like what good posture looks like or whatever. So, funnily enough, I've been watching watching fashion things where people are walking down the runway, and then just kind of like thinking, okay, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta be able to take a good picture, because the only thing worse than like a cosplayer with a bad attitude is a cosplayer who doesn't pose good, I feel like. Because then people want to take your picture, and then you take it, and then you're just like all the pictures that I've taken, that I've seen like online and stuff, I'm just like, oh man, I really wish that person had like a better picture of me. But I don't know. What is this, a pity party? Why am I complaining? Ooh, yes! Please cosplay DX2. Meat Balloon is... that would be cool. I would love to see a Meat Balloon cosplay. I really want to go as... I don't remember his name, but Australian kangaroo boxer. But that would require more effort. I have pink pants already, or whatever color. Pretty sure they're pink. I have pink pants already. So that's already like one major hurdle. But I don't have the physique yet. So once, like, basically, I used to be someone who took really good care of their, like, their weight and their aesthetic and stuff. And then I hurt my knee, and basically I stopped doing all that stuff, and it got really out of hand. Like, not to say that you can't be comfortable in your body at different sizes, but I wasn't comfortable. So I've been working on trying to get really, really back in shape, and we'll see how that works. Because, yeah, Beef Balloon. Is Beef Balloon his name in the, like... Is his name Beef Balloon? Ugh. Okay. Do you still play DX2, by the way? Because I love DX2. I'm like level whatever. It's fine. To be honest, I don't know any of the names of the characters except Megakin, because his is pretty easy to remember, and it's like plastered everywhere in the game. A lot of them are just not memorable. Which sucks, because I believe it's the Phoenix Wright artist, and he's really good. I feel like the art or the names or just the personalities are just not really memorable enough. So I don't really commit it to memory. So I don't even know. Okay. Maybe next time when I stream, I'll also make more notice than like an hour or two. But I actually wasn't planning on streaming today. I just had to call off work because I got really, like, I know I've been talking a lot and not coughing and stuff, so then, like, you might want to call BS, but no, I'm sick. I'm on a lot of medication right now, and that's why I'm not coughing and stuff, but I'm actually pretty sick. So this is like the first time I've ever called off work for being sick, and I haven't, like, I don't even know when the last time I've done that is. I don't think I've ever done it, to be honest. Who are your favorite demons? Because I feel like none of my favorite demons are in the game, to be honest. Well, not none. A lot of we got Ongyoki, which I probably butchered his pronunciation. But he's like one of my top demons of all time, aesthetically. He looks like a black bugaboo. I want bugaboo in the game, but that's probably never gonna happen. Wait, I know you play the game because you just posted about your like all the gems you have, which is a lot. You have a lot of gems. I don't think I've ever had that many gems at any point in like one, you know. How am I supposed to say this? You have tons of gems. Is what I'm trying to say. But I just don't even, cause you know the marshmallow experiment, right? The whole thing with delaying gratification. So that means for a game like this, where a game like DxT was just all gamble heavy, if you're able to not use your gems right away and wait for a bigger payout in the you know, rewards that are based on patience, that shows, what do you call it, that you're more patient, I think, or your willingness to wait is higher, and that there's like the rewards for that is like less compulsive behavior, less you know, impulsive stuff. And here I am using my gems right away. I just, you know, and I just wish they weren't called gems, to be honest. They should call them some other Megaten currency. I know we already have Maka, we already have Magnetite, but surely there's at least one other thing. So all of this time that I spent talking, and all I did was just shoot. Here's the eyes. This eye's crooked, so. And I don't like where this one's placed exactly, so. Actually, I don't really like where the mouth is, to be honest. So you gotta clear it, then doop, doop, oops, undoop. Please move it. Oh, still got it. Sure, it doesn't really matter, does it? Okay. So a lot of what I'm drawing is like me redoing slight things because I just, maybe I'm just, like I said, I'm pretty impulsive, so. I also want to make the mouth a little closer to black. Let's go here with the black. Alright. So I'm playing like I'm gonna try to find this one specific song that I really love from. Yes. So whoever, I'm just listening to a Strange Journey soundtrack that was online, and the names of the tracks aren't there, so it's kind of confusing. They got rid of one of the parchment pools, the one that's good, the like one that gives you these basically the equivalent of the ultimate summon. I don't know why they did that. Maybe because I don't know, but it's probably it was probably better for them to keep it in, because I think that's something people are more easy to buy into is the instant gratification. So that whole thing I was just ranting about, and I accidentally opened up. I accidentally opened up Adobe Photoshop, and it's slowing me up. Okay. So I guess for those who maybe just stumbled in, I'm using Painter Tool Sai, which is the superior drawing program, you know? Yes. Oops. Then you just gotta blend this out. One thing that I never really know I'm gonna do with his eyes is that I can never tell if I'm gonna make them like charcoal, because I feel like that's what they are, is that they're like charcoal pressed into snow, or if I'm gonna do what they sometimes do, which is they make his eyes holes, which no, actually I don't think I've ever done the holes one, because I just hate that. So we're gonna go with shiny charcoal. Ooh. Yes, you have good taste. This is my favorite, like one of my favorite tracks of all time from Megami Tensei, Scepter of Justice. Oh, just waiting for him. Yeah, if you play the Japanese version of DX2, it's so punishing, to be honest. Like, I don't know why Japanese people play that version when they can just play global and have better drop rates and everything, because the Japanese drop rate is something like it's like less than half the percentage that we have for 5 stars. So if you want a 5-star in Japan, I think the drop rate is like I forgot what it was. I almost want to say it was like 0.02 or something, and we're like 0.04, something like that. Where hi, haven't seen you in a while, Vash. Sorry. I also need to drink some fluids right now, so. Okay. Should I change the playlist to not be Strange Journey? Let's make it Majin Tensei now. Oh, wait. Is there a Jack Bros OST? There is. Exams. Oh man. I decided to take a break from school for a bit, so I'm not like enrolled this semester. And it's actually a lot better. I'm happier, you know? Alright. This blurring thing for eyes is like a technique that I learned on DeviantArt like 10 years ago, and I still do it, and it's really bad too. It's not really convincing, but I just always do it, and there's like so many better ways to do an eye, but I think until I die, I'll always follow that one tutorial of how to do. Oh, it looks so bad. Okay. But I mean, in the tutorial, what it told me to do was take white and like use like a I think it was like use like the brush with like maximum spray or whatever. I forgot. I haven't really used Photoshop for drawing in a while, so I don't remember what it was exactly. And then each time you do one layer, you make a new layer with the same effect, and you just kind of like put them on one on top of each other over and over and over again, and it creates basically with this like blending effect, and it's really not good blending effect, but I used to do it and I still do it all the time. Or at least an equivalent of it, which is this. It looks bad, but what are you gonna do? Alright. Are you... Have you been doing much art, Vaz? I feel like I'm more productive now that I have the Jack Bros music. Doodles are good. I think that like 80% of what I post I would consider a doodle, just because it's just like, I don't know. Fan art is just supposed to be fun, so just do the fun stuff. And most of the fun stuff is just drawing Jack Frost over and over again. Though lately I've been drawing mostly cats. Nice. I look forward to your posts. I think there's like a small group of like artists I follow like religiously. And like you're there, Duck Pasta is another one that I really like, and just like how is she so good and so young? I wish I was that good. And I'm old. Alright. I'm gonna take some of this, see if that looks good. This is some red snow. I don't know if that's good. Okay, word to the wise, don't ever use warm grays to paint Jack Frost, because it looks really weird. Yeah, it's getting this weird pseudo thing going on. Right, yeah, you guys are both really talented for your age, and like saying for your age is like could be perceived as demeaning, but it's not, because what it's just interesting how quickly how I guess with everything being so much more accessible for you. I mean, not that I'm trying to give not that I'm trying to demean how you guys got your skill, but I think everything being so readily available like has made it so then you're able to improve much better and much quicker without learning a lot of bad habits. And that's kind of how I learned, is I tried to be self-taught artist, you know, and it's what didn't really work, because when I did it, there just wasn't a lot of good resources, and you guys have so much, and it's cool that you actually use it, you know? But again, that's not really saying that, or trying to take away from your skill that you've worked at. just more like, I don't know, admiration. I think also because of Duck Pasta, I've been watching this person called, I think their name is Bird Watching, and they do some really excuse me they do some really good Jimenez, like, just art in general. It's cool. It's really nice to look at. I don't know. I like never know if I should retweet other artists' work, because I feel like, you know, I don't really understand if it's okay or not, or if some people will get offended, or some people might misconstrue it as, like, I don't know. Just never really know what to do, so I don't really retweet other artists much. But I kind of feel like I should start doing it, because that way people can see that there's so much good art out there. So this is what I got so far. Gonna add some of the shading here. You think about it, everything's supposed to be like just different levels of gradation. This doesn't really work, which sucks, because I'm just like, I passed the 1 hour mark. Oh, really? Wait, what's QR tweeting? That's when you, like, you say something on top of it? Yeah, I think I've like quoted, I've retweeted some of your stuff. I'm just like, oh, hopefully she doesn't, like, get mad, because, and then I, like, always try to read the little, like, bios to see what the rules are for people. It doesn't really seem clear. But this Jack Frost is taking way longer than it normally should. I'm looking at the time, I'm like, man, I've been drawing this for an hour. I should be done. Alright, so maybe it's the talking. Maybe I talked too much this time around. So I think I finished the Mothman from yesterday in like an hour. I was pretty pleased. No, that doesn't make sense. That's bad. Let's see. Lately, I've been kind of considering doing like more sculpting. I don't know if I posted about this, but a while ago I did a sculpt of the American box art version of Jack Frost for the Jack Bros game. And sad story, really. I was supposed to pick it up from school, because I did it. It wasn't part of a school project. I just did it because I was taking a sculpting class, and I had a lot of other students. Since since people can take the classes for credit, that doesn't really mean it's their major. So a lot of people who are in that class aren't majoring in art, which means that they just throw away their clay. And there was so much extra clay that I just started sculpting like whatever with it, because I was like, this is a waste, you know? It's gonna just get hard and they're gonna throw it away. So I had made a Jack Frost, and I was like really proud of it. I think I posted at least one picture of it on the sub or on Twitter. But I was supposed to pick it up. I was supposed to pick it up after they baked it, so that I could take it home and paint it and everything. And I just straight up forgot to do that. I forgot for nearly, yeah, I think my class ended in, I don't even know, July, and I didn't think to actually go until like October. So when I came back and I was like, oh yeah, do you guys still have my sculptures? They threw them all away because they just take up space, and it's not really, you know, I'm not really mad at them because, you know, they need a lot, like it's a school, there's a gajillion students. But I did lose that Jack Frost. I lost all the stuff I sculpted for that class because I just forgot to pick it up. And that sucks. Which is why I never posted about that Jack Frost again. But I am kind of considering doing another Jack Frost just because I really, really enjoy sculpting. I might even like it more than drawing, to be honest. So there's the sordid history of the Jack Frost. Yes, rip. I was really proud of it too, because on the inside I had made it like hollow, which is, you have to do that anyways for the firing, otherwise it'll just explode. But I was super proud of it because I was like, you know, I'm gonna make this into like a cookie jar or something, just something that I thought would be funny, you know, like a cookie jar that only has like iced cookies in it or something. And I was just so sad for a while, actually. Bringing it up now, it's fun. It's more funny than anything, but whew. Yeah. So I guess the lesson here is don't forget your stuff at school, especially your art stuff, because that teacher, like he even tried contacting me via my my school email, which I've never looked at in the history of me taking most classes. I just never really looked at it, so even more fault of mine. That's a shoe. Talking about me or the drawing? So I'm gonna fix this arm because it's really bothering me that I didn't do anything to it. I haven't fixed any of this stuff actually. This is actually didn't really know about the tail when I first started drawing Jack. So a lot of my early drawings just kind of ignored it. Yeah, he's got a tail. And I don't really know why. It always kind of bothers me that he does, because it doesn't really make sense to me. When I was researching more about like Jack Frost's like design history and stuff, there's actually a lot of weird schools of thought in terms of the history of the creation of just the mythical figure Jack Frost. And the main one is like the Norse mythology, Jorkul and Frosti or something. I don't know how to speak Norse, but there's those two guys who are like frost giants in Norse mythology, and people say that that's like where Jack Frost comes from. Like, I don't really agree with that, I guess, because it doesn't really make sense. In terms of those two characters, they're not really in any way similar to how Jack Frost is. In terms of personality, he's supposed to be a playful spirit thingy. But there's this really old poem, and in the poem, I want to say it's a Finnish poem, they describe Jack Frost, and it's cool because the way that they describe him is more of, you know, he's wearing blue, which, you know, that matters, and they kind of describe him as being playful, and I think that's like the earliest depiction of Jack Frost in the way that he's typically portrayed in all media. There's also some like really old, what do you call it, short stories that have Jack Frost as a character, and he's always kind of like childish, and those are like not even that old actually. They're like 17th century, 16th century, which from a historical standpoint for a mythological creature is fairly young. But yeah, there's not really like finite information about him, which bothers me because you know, I just want to know everything about everything, I guess. And it sucks that there's not really a whole lot out there about Jack Frost, and this is a really big palm. Sometimes they're pom-poms and sometimes they're just like bells. And I was gonna make them pom-poms originally, so if you're watching since the beginning, sorry, I'm not gonna make them bells anymore. They're gonna be palms. Palms are sweaty, these weak arms are heavy, falling on your sweater already, mom's spaghetti. Alright. So the hand in that general area is looking a lot better. I think this is like one of the towards the end songs for, yeah, Crystal Palace. This is I think the last dungeon before the final bosses in Jack Bros. Which, if you've ever watched me stream before, you probably saw me fail playing Jack Bros despite being, in my opinion, pretty good at it on a normal day. Thumb. Don't want this thing to look too flat, but it's kind of going that way anyways. Let's see. If I was a hand, okay. Is that too much like a ball? Does it match the size? Let's see. It's too small. Go bigger here. Thumb needs to be bigger. Oh yeah. Here's the final boss music. Hopefully you guys can hear this, because it's epic. The capital ugh. Okay, let me shrink this point here. Let's make this a little This boss is hard, by the way. I probably had more of a rough time playing Jack Bros than I have in most games when I first started playing it a lot. Just, if anything, just because, boy oh boy, playing as anybody but Ripper or Pixie is basically asking to die. Because, yeesh. Yeah, this is the Jack Bros OST. I just love it so much. Just, you know, old music in general is pretty good. I think this is the person. I think the person who did the Jack Bros OST also did some of the old Mega Man songs, or at least one of them. I gotta look it up now. Jack Bros OST. Oh, well, this is looking it up is taking too long, so just take my word for it. This is the song you hear when you beat the game. Can you believe it? Like, that whole game is essentially... I mean, it's not really a spoiler because they tell you the story in the beginning. I promise. So, basically, the Jack Bros get stuck outside of the Makai realm, and they need to get, like, for Halloween. They're out and about during Halloween, and they get stuck. So the whole game is them trying to get back to there with the help of Pixie. Pixie is the demon that's like, oh yeah, I'll help you. And for whatever reason, there's like a handful of demons that just being pretty rude. And all they want to do is go home. And I love this track because it's like, it does feel like a We Did It type song. I've never heard it all the way through though, because, you know, warms my soul. I should probably listen to more of like just Mega 10 music in general when I draw. I always have music playing, but it's never really Mega 10, to be honest. I do use the Strange Journey soundtrack when I'm working out, so there's that. That's kind of like drawing, I guess. Alright. Actually, let's make this a little more. Another song I don't listen to all the way through is staff credits or whatever. It's actually super catchy. What the heck? So one art project that I have in mind that I want to do someday, I just want to you know those like music boxes where you wind them up and then they play a song? I know you can do like homemade versions of those, and I really want to do like one where it's playing like Pascal's theme or something, and then you put it into a music box and Pascal will be like you'd open the music box up and it would have the background that, you know, that says like, and you have the background, and then they'll have the little figure that's like spinning, and it's like just Pascal, kind of like on his hind legs. And I don't know. I've always wanted to kind of make one of those music boxes with Megaten music and playing. But it's one of those things where it takes a lot of actual effort, and I just, you know, maybe it's a better idea than it is the actual thing that I will do. Good thing I got in mind. Don't even get me started on the DX2 typos. There's so many. I don't know. So, ugh. Now, if you want super epic OSTs, this is the most epicest. Very epic. Alright. I actually want more. Now that's an arm. Let's do... Here's a good one. This song will be played at my wedding and at my funeral. What's everyone else? What are you guys up to right now? Besides keeping me company. I know how that goes. I mean, it's also pretty fun to not do anything, to be honest. I guess that sounds contradictory, but it's enjoyable to do nothing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Oh yeah. It's coming along. Slowly, but let's fix this happy face. Okay. I don't know, you're young. You don't, I mean, I guess youth is when you should be as productive as possible. But at the same time, like, it's pretty nice to be able to enjoy your leisure when you're young, because you get less of that when you get older. As I say while I'm drawing on stream on a Monday. I know earlier in the stream I was saying how you shouldn't have a whole lot of points to make a straight line because it makes it bad. Sometimes you gotta add a whole bunch. Just so that you can delete them all. But I want the smile to kind of make sense. procrastinate. You gotta be productive.
Huh?
Maybe I should add like the blood stain on it so it could be like the Watchmen. Let's see. It's like. What does the blood stain look like? It's like. Who watches. Who watches the Watchmen? Alright. I think that's funny. I might keep that. Oh. I don't know if it's like a medallion that's like on top or if it's stitched in, you know? So let's go with stitched in as the assumption. Let's move it a little more this way. Alright. I'm making a blood layer. Does it make it less cute if he's in a, if he's got like he's got blood everywhere? Let's see, what does this splash look like? Murder Frost. Okay, sorry. Back to our regularly scheduled program. So the problem with doing multiple layers, which is why I usually avoid it, because then sometimes I accidentally mark one layer with something that I don't know what to do, you know? And you never want to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. Have you guys seen all the Wonderfest figures and stuff? It's so weird to see all of the not Jack, the Devil Children stuff. There was like so much Devil Children merch. I don't really know why, but kind of made my day to see that Japanese fans decided that Devil Children deserved some fan figures, you know? It's really weird, but it was really cool. There was like some of the stuff that I saw was, you know, stuff that's been there for forever. It's always gonna be there. But there's a lot of new stuff. I felt like the McCoy, the Australian demon. there's like a really good fan figure garage kit of that. The Varna came back too, which was cool. I guess my only real thing that made me kind of sad is that there's this one figure maker garage kit guy, our gal, name that goes by Come Come Cat Food, and they didn't do it. They just weren't there. If I remember correctly, they were working on a King Frost, and then I just haven't seen that King Frost since they posted some work in progress stuff of it. I don't know if they decided to stop doing garage kit stuff or what, but it's, yeah, it kind of sucks. I was kind of hoping to see something from them. I usually, what I'll do is I'll follow closely, and then I'll just stop for a while. That way I'll be surprised by what ends up happening. This time around I was pretty surprised. I felt like there was a lot of really good stuff. Here's hoping that there's more like mainline stuff next year or whatever. Kind of anticipated more Catherine stuff. I didn't really see a lot of that, to be honest. There's one really good Catherine figure, but I didn't want to share it because on my I didn't want to share it because I thought it was gonna be a spoiler. But yeah, the whole figure making scene is pretty cool. There's also so much of the new Persona 5 figures. There's like a lot of them coming out, official ones. Not really excited for any of them besides the Nendoroids, because I like love the Mega 10 Nendoroids, and there's not a whole lot of those. So it's kind of cool, you know? But yeah, man. It's a good year, good time to be a Mega 10 fan. We're supposed to get all the new news coming up soon. Catherine will drop in Japan in like 3 days, so I'm kind of hyped for that. I managed to pre-order the Vita Collector's Edition, but mine won't be coming for like a while because I have all my stuff shipped in big bundles. I don't like shipping them individually because it's cheaper to do it that way. Alright. So I've been filling this in for a bit, but I need to actually lay in some details and fix the lines. Um, I've been hearing a lot of like, not necessarily bad things, but some of the criticism I saw for Catherine is more like that the new stuff isn't really as integrated as they're making it seem. So it seems like it's just added on stuff, which is kind of what they do every single time they do this kind of re-release thing. So it's not overly surprising, but I mean, I'm still kind of excited. I am more excited about SMT5, but I think the most exciting thing that we have like on the horizon is RE Project Fantasy, because I don't know. One of their promotional content was a guy eating chicken. And so RE Project Fantasy could be pretty amazing in theory, or it could literally just be a guy eating chicken. Imagine if the whole game was just a guy eating chicken. That'd be funny. Another big release that I'm excited for. Yes, guy eating chicken simulator 20XX. Another big thing I'm excited for. I mean, it's not really big. At least it's big to me though. Is the visual novel that's supposed to come out this year from Kazunari Suzuki and Tsukasa Masuko. They're like old Atlas guys who teamed up to make that new visual novel that's based on like old school mythology. I think it's called 13th Month. That's supposed to drop this year. Pretty excited for it because, you know, it's always nice to see Megaten likes, and I don't know if you'd consider a graphic novel necessarily, or not graphic novel, visual novel necessarily a Megaten like, but it's made by them, and Tsukasa Masuko is the one that composed the music you can hear right now, which this is like from this one is from Maten Tensei 2, but he's like super good at music. I think he did all of the SMT 1 and 2 music as well. Very good at his stuff. And I'm just kind of hyped for it. According to one of their more recent posts, that they actually scrapped a lot of their stuff, so they're redoing it to some degree, which could be a bit of a red flag. So I'm told. But we'll see. Line's a little too crazy. Never really know what I'm doing with this whole line weight variation stuff, so that's why I don't really do it too often. So like this one I feel like should be thick, that should be thick. I guess that makes sense. Also pretty hyped for the what is it called? Persona 5R stuff. I think it's going to be a whole bunch of content, because the way they make it sound, like based on their like closing statements for last year, is like they're basically kind of nervous about how this year will go. Like it might be like a make or break type deal, because I don't know. And that makes me think that they're probably going to do something ambitious or something interesting with the Persona 5 IP. Hopefully that means some sort of like cool, interesting game that we haven't seen before. But, you know, worst case scenario, it's gonna be like a Persona 5 fighting game, which is probably not the worst thing that could happen. If it was racing, it wouldn't be bad, to be honest. I think the worst possible thing it could be is just some type of Persona spin-off that we've seen before, but we already got basically everything that they typically make for Persona, except the fighting game. So if it was racing, that'd be fine. I almost feel like it's gonna be some sort of like, I don't know, like a bundle of games. Like the R, you would have to stand for something, and one of the things that it could stand for is like remake. And what if it was like a bundle of remakes? You know, that'd be kind of cool. I've seen a lot of people who claim to have insider information, and that's one of those things where it's like the likelihood that someone outside of Alice knows something pertinent to it is pretty low. But, you know, hopefully the people who are claiming that they know things are right. Otherwise that'll negatively affect their credibility, I guess. Excuse me, sorry. I don't know if I said enough times, but I'm sick, so. So if you're wondering, yes, like 80% of what I do is just gradients, you know? And that's because gradients work. This is looking pretty good. It's almost done. I mean... Oh, I didn't do the thing I normally do. So one of the big things I do is I'll take like a color that's from here and use that to form the basis of the background. And that helps me with editing, so then stuff like this doesn't happen, where I just miss, you know, a whole huge chunk of it. hate that, frankly. I mean, probably wouldn't even matter, but it matters to me. Arena? Oh, arena. I mean, it could just stand for arena. I kind of hope not. The other prevailing theory is that it stands for racing. The other one stands for, what was it? Ruby or something. But if I'm honest, I think that it stands for something that is going to relate to a handful of like IPs, you know? But who knows? I don't have insider information. Thank you. Just, it's just funny because it shouldn't take this long, but it is. Thanks. Usually when I draw or like or when I paint, I just have like a weird perception of color. I just kind of go with whatever feels nice. But you know, some of it's like color theory. Most of it's just guessing because I'm colorblind. So I just kind of rely on whatever feels good, I guess, you know? Oops. Sometimes that works out. Most of the time it works out, I would say. It helps with my the way I like to paint with watercolor, because then the watercolor stuff I do tends to be usually really colorful and kind of crazy looking, and it's mostly just the result of going with aesthetic instead of actual color theory, which is probably not the best way to do it. I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. But yeah. I don't know. He just kind of has this weird flat feeling. I think it's this and this not working together. Let's see. This fish should cast a little bit of a shadow, I think. See if that looks right. Kind of works. Right here should be a little bit more shadow. Don't want to hit the whole back though. Maybe a little more. Oops. A little more here. I mean, that doesn't really make sense because there's light coming from there, but whatever. Who's gonna call me out on that? I don't know. I think I'm gonna do these types of streams more because it's fun to me now that I'm getting more comfortable. Yesterday's was a bit of a train wreck just because I just couldn't figure out how anything worked, and also I just wasn't really talking. And yet I'm feeling worse today, and I'm talking more. Let's see. So what I'm trying to do is imply that this is sitting on here, that the what do you call it, collar is sitting here, which would mean that this stuff would have to then cast a shadow. Oops. Oh, this is like one of my favorite Majin Sensei songs. Of the feels. I think one of the things that makes Jack so fun to draw is because he's got tubes for arms and legs, and turns out tubes are fun to draw to me. When I was reading a lot about like comments that Kaneko said about Frost, one of the things that he said that I thought was really interesting is that he mentions how the reason why he finds Frost cute is because he has a face that doesn't change expressions, like it's always this. And I thought that was really interesting. It's kind of sad also because in like the Devil Children anime and a lot of the manga, they make Frost a lot more expressive, which is cool. It helps because it doesn't really, you know, it helps for expressing his different emotions. But it's sad because if only because it's, you know, it's a specific design choice that Kaneko made, in that he didn't want his face to express, you know. And you could tell the things that Kaneko had more input in, or maybe was more serious about, or whatever. Because if you look at stuff like the print club stuff, so that's the print club is the photo booth stuff, a lot of that, or all of it actually, doesn't have Frost making any expressions at all. His face is always the same. But then if you look at stuff where they hired someone and Kaneko is just supervising or something, like the Persona 2 manga, Frost makes expressions, but, well, kind of. But there's like a cool half, like, I don't know what you would call it, some sort of like in-between thing where instead of actually completely just making expressions with his face, what they did in the manga to kind of be more true to what Kaneko said is that this little thing, the happy face, would actually change expressions based on how that Frost was feeling in the Persona 2 manga. And I thought that was cool because it was a way to get around what the design decisions that Kaneko made, but still make it so that you can understand when Frost is happy, when he's sad, etc., etc. So that's also why I kind of stopped drawing Frost doing different expressions, because I'm like, if Kaneko wants, or if his decision is to make him not have all these emotions, then maybe I should honor that by continuing it. It does make it very, very hard to get him to look any way besides just happy, but small price you pay for authenticity, I guess. Nerding out too because I really love the Majin Tensei 2 soundtrack, and it's really relaxing, and I never thought to draw to it, but I feel like I'm even more productive than I normally would be just because of the music. Let's see, I kind of want this to blend here. There's some things that I do intentionally, like this is way darker, way brighter and obvious in the reflections and the lighting on the dongles, or whatever you want to call them. That's basically just because I want to push them back a little bit, and they shouldn't be as detailed if they're further back. Yeah, fair enough. I think that you could definitely change the eyes to express emotions. lately I've just been making him have really, really shiny eyes because I want it to look cute, but also to be like what do you call it? Those like eyes that when in anime where they're like super enthusiastic about something, their eyes get like extra shiny. I don't know if there's a name for it. Here I go using that DeviantArt method again. I said it. I was talking about how much it doesn't work, but it seems like it works actually. See, what else did I learn about Frost when I was doing research? There's a lot of like interesting things that Kaneko says. I think the most interesting thing to me, I even posted it because it was so weird, is that he was talking about how he wanted to redesign Frost. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. That's how Frost looks, I guess, when I draw him.